Hi guys, Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Sorry about the lighting in here. So I'm going to take a look at North Korea in the face of this pandemic and Russia. So let's do Russia first. Let's do Russia first. I'm using the Illuminati deck. It's very lush in a way, very Russian, even though it's not really Russian. Um, a lot of fancy get-ups and such. All right, let's see here. I'm almost done. So Russia is having other issues as well, um, with the price of oil tanking, and I believe Russia is like is like in a way in like Venezuela, where it's like a one thing economy. Like the economy is based on one thing. In the case of Russia, it's oil. All right, let's see. How are they doing in Russia in the face of this pandemic? Yeah, so they're really strapped. Okay. They're really strapped. I would say the people are unaware of the danger that's around them. They're unaware, so I don't think they're saying anything to their people. Um, and what's crossing them is this is generally this is Donald Trump, but I feel like this is more Putin. In this case, there's a similar energy between Donald Trump and Putin in that they are very sort of self-satisfied. And I know that he's trying to, I don't know, be president for two more terms or something. I don't know what happened with that constitution. They were trying to change their constitution. Again, with all the information about the, corona in the States and such, we don't get a lot of information um, from other parts of the country at this point. Let's see what's at the root of this. Yeah, so we have emotional upheaval here. They're not in a good place. Um, their their um, their foundation is sort of doing this kind of thing. What's in the past? Okay, we have the Justice card in the past, so it says to me they had a little bit more balance going on in the past. Also some legal stuff, and I know there was all this constitutional stuff that was happening. Let's see what's in the sky. Okay, a wake up call. So there's going to be a wake up call here. People are going to wake up from their slumber, the immediate future. The Hermit card. I don't know if they're asking them to um, shelter in place or not. But if they're not, this is coming up for them. So they're going to be feeling isolated. How it's seen from the outside. We get the Princess of Pentacles. Um, yeah, I don't exactly know what that means. So let's continue. See if it comes to me. Their domestic situation, yeah. Anxiety, stress. The Russia's not doing well right now. Not doing well at all. I'm sure they're getting some information about the pandemic. I mean, it's not really a communist country anymore. Although I think it's very highly regulated when it comes to what they're allowed to know. Um, hopes and fears. They want to move into the future. They want to move from the position they're in. They're sort of tired of being in this place that they find themselves in. And I think that that's true of um, Putin as well. I think he amasses what he can amass in his own country, but his country is not really moving forward because it keeps getting blocked, mainly by the United States, actually, and now by um, Saudi Arabia, which is, like an arm of the United States, really, in a way. Or maybe we're an arm of Saudi Arabia. Who the hell knows? Let's see. Outcome. Okay, we have the Empress card. So this is actually a pretty good outcome for them. Mother Russia. Oops, Mother Russia, sorry. Um, Probably, well, I mean, you know, I have it, but worse than you have it, and all this other stuff. But Russia's always been a country that um, is challenged. It's always been challenged to survive. It's always lost a lot of people. It's always, the revolution, the wars. You know, there's a strength and a resiliency that Russians have that we don't have in this country, really, in America. We have a different kind of resiliency. Um, but they're not, they're used to adversity. I almost feel like this is strengthening them, the country itself, and I think because the leaders, um, I want to say, are on their way out, or the way the leaders are doing it is not working. I think this wake up call up here in the sky has to do with the people are just done with the leaders. So I feel like I don't necessarily get revolution per se, but I wonder if there's a female, which is very interesting because it's a very oppressed country when it comes to the feminine, and yet it's Mother Russia. So I feel like this is strengthening it somehow. It could very well be Russia becomes um, one of the primary, uh, what's the word I'm looking for, examples of the feminine rising, the strength of the feminine rising. Once all the misogynists get out of the way. So I would say they are not. It's weird because I almost feel like this pandemic, even though I said, um, we don't hear about them, and maybe it's and they they're not talking about it happening. Uh, Perhaps it's not it's perhaps it's not happening like it's happening here, because they have in a way had to pull in their energy so much in order to withstand Putin and his oligarch friends there. Almost like it's made them stronger. Let's see what's underneath it all. They have the King of Wands. So I almost feel like there's less energy here about the people and how the people are going to be affected um, by the virus. There's more in this about how the virus is affecting the world, is affecting the leaders, and is strengthening, in a way, Russia and Russia's resolve to bring the goddess back bring Mother Russia back online, so to speak, um, and not because it necessarily wants to take over other people, but because it wants to be able to sustain itself. So somehow, interestingly enough, this is working in Russia's favor. That's what these cards look like to me. Okay, so that's Russia. And now we're going to do North Korea. Okay, let's do North Korea. We'll use this deck, the Wild Unknown Tarot, because they are pretty unknown and perhaps wild, although I can't imagine they're allowed to be very wild. What a repressed country. It's like unbelievable that in this day and age, holy crap. And then you have South Korea, which is like, I guess in a way South Korea balances North Korea energetically. Their expansion, their giant cities, their lights, and they contained this virus pretty well. So, mainly because they had the resources and the planning, whereas North Korea doesn't have any resources, and who knows what the planning is. I don't think he's worried about his people. I mean, tortures them and he starves them to death. But let's see what it says. Let's see, North Korea in this pandemic. North Korea in the pandemic. Let's head for North Korea in this pandemic. And we'll move to England, Europe next. How's the time? I have a little respite right now before people start squawking for me, so I don't always know how much time I have. Anybody who has children, I don't have children, but anybody who has children can understand that. Okay, so we have the Son of Pentacles. So uh, this is a sense of having planted some seeds, and now they're waiting for those seeds to sprout. In the case of this question about the pandemic, it's very possible that the seeds are planted, but it hasn't reached like where the virus is blooming, I guess we could say. Let's see what's crossing that. Okay, we have the Daughter of Pentacles. So I'm just going to continue and then I'll read it all at once. Yeah, okay. So we have the Hanged Man here, the bats, no less. Although I'm not sure that the virus came from bats anymore. That was a theory. I don't know if it was disproven. But there's this sense of being in limbo, which that whole country is in limbo, right? So that's nothing, doing what you can with what you have and having to let go of what you have no control over, which is almost everything in that country. So it's not a great place to be. In the past, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So he was trying. I think part of his whole thing with Trump was he was looking for investment. He was looking for not just for people to see him. I really think he wanted some investment in his country, and whatever that meant. Um, but where he didn't lose control and power. So he wanted investment on his terms, I guess we'll say. And so we have the World card here. So there's some sort of ending, a new beginning for North Korea. Let's see what's in the immediate future for them. We have the Chariot. So there is something coming. There's a change coming. There's movement. This almost feels like a stampeding energy, like coming, like a stampeding horses or something, or or as Governor Cuomo said, a freight train that's now a bullet train. I mean, that's New York, but that whole idea there's something coming, and that coming is also change. So there's change coming for North Korea. How it's seen from the outside, of course, we don't see. Oh shoot, the Hermit card, right? We don't see anything in North Korea. Domestic situation, the Moon. So there is instability in the domestic situation. Hopes and fears. Well, the hope is for balance, and with the butterfly here, a new birth. Um, yeah, outcome. Okay, we have the Ace of Wands. So there is something new. There's new energy coming into North Korea. We have the Six of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Mother of Pentacles. Let's see what's underneath. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe all this change coming in is Kim Jong Un, right? That's his name. Um, I'm gonna say this, which is kind of weird, but I know that most people think he's like his father and he's a dictator and he doesn't care about his people. Um, but I think there is a part of him, and I could be completely wrong. And so I'll give you that. Um, and maybe I always like to see the best in people, so that could be my own dysfunction here. But I do think that he wants something different for his people. I think he does want. I think he wants to open the world, open his people up to the world a little bit more, to give them more, and not just, you know, so he can have the biggest bombs. He just wants to be seen. He wants to be noticed, and I think he got a taste of that with Trump. Um, and so this actually is not bad. It's not as bad as it seems for them either. This is so weird, right? This whole pandemic stuff. Perhaps it's the countries that don't have the capacity to be expansive and industrious, perhaps, and rich to a certain extent. Maybe this is more of like a rich man's issue because they're not using a whole lot of resources because they don't have a lot of resources. They're not polluting the environment. They barely have lights. So it's very interesting that Russia and North Korea seemed less affected by this whole thing. That's very interesting. Hmm. I'm glad I did it. All right, guys. Well, like and subscribe, and I'm going to get to Europe next if I can. If not now, in a little while. I got to sneak these things in between my life. Have yourself a great day. Stay safe. Stay. Yeah, I want to say this. Stay healthy. You know, limit the amount of information you're taking in about this stuff. Try not to get caught up in the fear of it all. I mean, we can look at Russia and maybe we can learn something from Russia and North Korea. Is if you don't allow that stuff in, it's maybe not as harmful in a way. And do things that are going to support your immune system. I mean, that's the most important thing we can do. Part of that is positive mental attitude, not allowing the fear and all that stuff to get to you. Part of it is watching your diet. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Most of us are shallow breathers, especially when we're anxious. So, nice deep breaths. And, do stuff to support your immune system. Maybe do some emergency or some vitamin C or pomegranate, antioxidant stuff. Anything that can help support, multi-minerals, all of that. Anything that's going to help support your immune system and your general health and well-being is going to be good. And, we're going to, at some way, somehow, we're going to get to the other side of this. And we'll be better off if we've taken those precautions and taken better care of ourselves when we finally do get to the other side of this. Even if you're in a totally different financial situation, I think the only thing worse than being in a terrible financial situation is to be in a terrible financial situation and be sick at the same time. Because then what do you have to hold on to, right? What can sustain you? So if you have your health, you have everything, really. Wealth is something that comes and goes, but health is a different story. So take care of yourself, guys. All right, I'm gonna go now, and have a healthy breakfast. Or wait, what time is it? I guess we could call it breakfast. Take care. Bye.